Jason Byrne, you're a Donegal man, and it's all on the line against your neighbours, Mayo, this weekend. How strong is the rivalry against Mayo?
Maybe not as strong as it was in recent years, Shane. Like I know they came up to Bobafay last year, I think it was, and Kevin McLaughlin got a very, very late score. He took about 20 steps to relegate Donegal to Division 2, so that one didn't go down too well. And in 2012, I suppose it was a very unique sort of culture All-Ireland final. And I think Harcourt Street didn't know what to do with itself. But then the following year in 2013, they played us at Croke Park in the All-Ireland quarter final, and Mayo absolutely bet Donegal out the gate and really put them out of their misery. And I think a lot of Mayo supporters enjoyed that victory, and just to kind of get one back as to what happened in the final year before. But they sadly didn't go on to win it that year. So
when you compare it with like some of the rivalries with some of the Ulster counties and maybe the likes of Tyrone, because you've had such a strong rivalry there, there wouldn't be any poison there, would there?
Not between Donegal and Mayo, no, I wouldn't think so. There would have been a very good rivalry, I suppose, between James Horan and Jim McGuinness back then. James Horan, of course, is back now, and Jim's God knows where, no one knows what he's doing at the minute. So I'd say there would have been a good rivalry between the two coaches in particular. But obviously the most interesting angle about the game this weekend is Stephen Rochford being in the Donegal camp. So I know a lot of the Donegal lads really like his presence there, and they really like what he's doing. And a few of them have actually spoken about the fact that he's not an Ulster man himself, and that he brings a different insight into how the game should be played and his different tactics and approach and whatnot as well. And I know they speak very highly of him. And I know as well, another interesting thing, maybe it's not that interesting, but he doesn't really watch the games from the sideline. He always finds a vantage point in the stand or in the press box or somewhere, and he watches things from there, and kind of gives himself a different insight too, I suppose. I know Davy Fitz does that a lot with the Wexford hurlers too, and all the other hurling jobs he's been in. So yeah, that's the kind of approach he takes. So there'll be a lot of talk about him this week, I would think.
Yeah, do you having interviewed Stephen Rochford many times as you would, do you think that the character he is just really driven to prove a few people wrong here, or does he look at it emotionlessly, irrespective of the fact that it's his county? He just sees it as a project and he wants to succeed.
I'd say there's a bit of both there. I'd say he's really at a crossroads this week, because Stephen seems like a very emotional guy. We all saw the videos of that very emotional speech he gave at the dinner dance out in City West when Mayo didn't get over the line against Dublin in 2017. So it was no secret that he wanted that Mayo job for a long time, and I'm sure he was personally and quietly quite disappointed with how it ended. We don't really know the ins and outs of it. We might never find out. All the word was that he was going to be back there for 2018, and then all of a sudden players were doing interviews and they weren't really giving answers, and there was slight suspicions there, but still everyone was confident he was going to be back. And the next thing was out with the county board, and Donegal poached him. So to answer your question, I'd say there'll be a little bit of both there. He'll be out to prove a lot of people wrong, especially probably the people in Mayo who were going against him, after not delivering that success. But there'll be a lot of professionalism there too, and he'll be quite cutthroat into doing the job that he's there to do now for Donegal.
As far as Declan Bonner or Boner, whichever way you like to pronounce it up there, as far as he's concerned, he's recruited the guy who's closest to beating Dublin in the last number of years, and that's what it all comes down to, really. Yeah. And do you think that is there any signs of, or any talk in Donegal of it being just perfectly harmonious, that from the get-go it just gelled perfectly? Is that what you're hearing?
As far as I know, it has been fairly harmonious. There was obviously a few teething problems at the start when it looked like Carol Lacey was going to go and join Roscommon, so I'm sure there was a few questions there, but they got that all fairly settled quite early when they were going into pre-season, and it all gelled fairly quickly from there. I'm sure Stephen's had problems managing life himself. He's a very busy man. He works for AIB, and I think he's a regional manager.
I think he's on the road a lot.
Mayo, probably on the road a lot. Yeah, young family, and I don't know how he does that trek. Donegal train in Convoy a lot. I'm from Killybegs. It's not even a spectacular trek from Killybegs to Convoy most nights, so I don't know how he does it from Castlebar, where I'm not quite sure where he's based at the minute, but somewhere in Mayo anyway.
Were you impressed with Donegal in the 120 apiece draw with Kerry?
I was, especially after Paul Ganey got the goal, because I thought when he got that goal, I thought the writing was on the wall for Donegal. Just the nature and how they conceded it. You had Kieran Thompson and I think it was Darrow Boyle both went for the same ball, missed it, and Guinea just punished them for it. And it can be very hard to come back from that sort of mistake quite early in the second half when the momentum swings that way. And then, of course, there was the penalty. A lot of people think it was, a lot of people think it wasn't. It was quite a heavy hit between Stephen O'Brien and O'Boyle when it happened, but Murphy, you were always going to put your house on him to score it, and that really swung it back in Donegal's direction. And I was very impressed with how patient they were, still working the ball into a scoreable position. They never panicked. They gave it to the shooters. Michael Langan put over a couple of great scores. Paddy McBurdy put over a couple of beauties as well. And this was all going on while Jamie Brennan, who was the star for Donegal in the Ulster campaign, had another very quiet game, just as he had the week before in Balbafay against Meath.
I thought Langan was even quiet for the first half. McBurty missed a couple of chances in the first half, so it almost feels like as much as Kerry could have won that game, and as well as Donegal did to come back, that there is probably a fair bit more in them.
Yeah, you would think so. You would hope there's definitely more in Jamie Brennan, and he'll be under a lot of pressure now ahead of this game in Castlebar, because you had Oisin Gallen coming in and getting another couple of great scores. He came on the week before and got a goal against Meath, and he's just such an exciting prospect, and everyone in Donegal's talking about him at the minute. So you can imagine Jamie Brennan might be in thin ice at the moment, and you would hope that he's really driving it on, and he has the character and training to kind of say, this jersey's mine and I'm keeping it.
Do you think Mayo are kind of like, there are certain people who feel that Mayo are kind of right on the edge of waiting to be knocked off, that they've gone through the back door, had to play so many games, hammered by Kerry, limped against Meath for a long time, and I don't think that scoreline was a fair reflection of what happened. No. So Donegal are probably going into Castlebar as favourites.
Yeah, they seem to be going in as favourites as well, and I was actually up at Mayo's game against Armagh in round 4 of the qualifiers, and Kieran McGinney wasn't happy at all with the added time and added on at the end. I think there was 2 or 3 minutes added, and by our watches there should have been 5 or 6, and had that gone on, I'd be very surprised if Armagh didn't win that game, because they had them in the ropes and they missed a few chances near the end, and Mayo were just so rattled. Like, they always just love making a drama of it and just getting out by the skin of their teeth. So based on all that, I would have Donegal as favourites, and I would have Donegal as favourites based on Donegal's front six and Mayo's front six. I just think Donegal have that bit more up front. Mayo might have a couple of better man markers in the likes of Chris Barrett and Keith Higgins, and Donegal will be... Yeah, him as well. And I know Donegal will be doing everything in their power to make sure Paddy and McGrath and Neil McGee are back on the field for McHale Park. Yeah,
and considering that they had all those injuries, and even Jason McGee went off in the first half. Now, you could counteract it by saying David Moran and Jack Barry weren't available for Kerry as well. But it seemed as if before throw-in everyone was like, well, this game is skewed now. It's fallen perfectly for Kerry again. You must be very impressed with how Donegal performed despite losing all those players. Yeah,
and massive. And Owen Van Galler, of course, missing as well. Huge. He's out for the rest of the year. All-Star nominee last year. I thought he was a bit shafted in the selection process, but that's because they went picking a sweeper and Colm Kavanagh.
And you also say that because he's your club man, I believe?
He is my club man, yeah, but I suppose that blatant bias aside, I still thought he was a bit screwed over when it came to the selection process.
What is it about Killybegs? You've Seamus Coleman, Hugh McFadden played for Finn Harps, didn't he? And
he played for underage. I think he played a bit for Sligo Rovers as well.
Yeah, Owen Van Gallagher, quick as...
Owen's father, John, played for Donegal in the 90s as well. Manus Boyle in 92, man of the match. Yeah, not bad.
Some spot on you as well being produced there.
Yeah, well, I've only produced a beer belly, Seamus. That's about all I've produced.
Who do you think is most likely to put the greatest challenge up to Dublin at this stage? Look, let's assume that Kerry go to Meath and get the win. If Donegal beat Mayo, it's going to be Donegal against Dublin. Well, no, it's not 100% because throwing Dublin, it's hard to say. But
it's very hard to know, yeah.
Who is best equipped to take down Dublin, do you think, if anyone?
I think it's very, very 50-50 between Kerry and Donegal. I think the fact that they drew in Croke Park last weekend told the story as well. That there's very little between them. Like it would be, you mentioned there the players that were missing for both sides. If they were both at full tilt with their full complements and they went at it again, who would win? Very hard to know again. In terms of challenging Dublin,
Tyrone as well. Do you put them in there, or do you think last year's All Ireland final they were just beaten down so badly as the game went on?
Yeah. Like I don't know. Obviously they've been very impressive in the Super 8 so far, but I don't know if they've developed enough and come on enough from last year to actually beat Dublin. Now they could go out and beat them in Oma now, but it's not the
It's a
All-Ireland
dead
final.
rubber.
Yeah,
It's a
it
dead
is a
rubber.
dead rubber.
And
It's
it's in a
just
different
deciding
stadium.
who finishes top. It's deciding who wants to play Saturday and who wants to play Sunday.
Did Tyrone show their hand by playing Matty Donnelly in the forward line, having to play him in the full forward line against Cork, and he was devastating when he went up there?
Yeah, I don't know. Like they done that a lot with him during the league as well. So I don't know if it's specifically showing your hand.
Including against Dublin here. At Croke
Yeah,
Park as
yeah.
well,
Like, and I saw them against Cavan and Clonus in the qualifiers too, and the amount of possessions they had was just outrageous. So I think they've shown that hand earlier in the year already. So I think Dublin will be ready for that too. But to answer your question in terms of who's best placed to challenge them, it's very hard to know. Given Owen Band's injury, I think he's Donegal's answer to Jack McCaffrey. I think if Donegal had him, they would genuinely have a massive chance. But without him, it curtails them a lot in terms of that bit of pace in the half-back line just to break forward and break the line. So I still think Dublin are going to get the 5 in a row, but I think if Kerry or Donegal were to play them in the morning, Kerry might run them that little bit closer, but there would be very little in it. Donegal would also run them very close to.
And if we bring it back to the game in Castlebar this weekend, what would you be worried about as a Donegal man from this Mayo team?
Just that they can drag you into a fight, how they can frustrate you in the forward line, and they've been very impressive up front for a lot in this championship as well. Obviously after the Connacht debacle, but the momentum that they have coming through the qualifiers, they must have been delighted to get the 2-week break coming in after the Meath game here. And Killian O'Connor, of course, he was out for so long. He's just back to fitness now. He's looking sharp. Missed the penalty against Kerry, missed the penalty here against Meath, and scored the rebound. Must have been a bit of a weight off his shoulders, given that what happened to them down in Killarney as well. So there's fight in that dog yet. There always is. There's huge bite in them. Andy Moran can just kick them from anywhere. Kevin McLaughlin as well. Donegal don't need to be told about him. I think he's still very, very dangerous, and a few of them have really stood up.
You've been at plenty of the Dublin matches this year. Do you see them? Do you think that they're improving? Do you think that they're kind of, plateauing? Where do you think they're at?
Some people are saying they're plateauing, some people are saying they're improving. I think it's impossible to judge given the opposition that they've come up against. One Dublin player was out last Saturday night. I won't name who he was, but he kept saying to me Donegal for Sam, and he was kind of laughing. So he was trying to big up Donegal anyway. But they've been devastating in what they've done to teams. I felt very sorry for his comment here last week, going down to 14 men so early as well, and then just bang, 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 floodgates opened. Cork did cause them a lot of problems. Right up until half time, right up until that Dublin goal at the end of the first half on that one, Cork caused them massive problems. And you'd love to see, based on that first half performance, what a Kerry or Donegal would do to them if they were given that sort of space to run at them. I think a Cork team with a bit less naivety and a bit more experience would have really gave them a big scare.
So the Dublin Tyrone game, do you think that both teams are going to go full-blooded once they're out in the field? I think, irrespective of a player or two is rested, I still think both teams will go full out for it. They mightn't show everything tactically, but they're going to put the bodies on the line.
Yeah, why not? It's still why I don't see why you would sit back in any championship game. You want to top your group, you want to have that momentum. And imagine the doubts, the seeds of doubt that would be in Dublin's mind if they went up to home and lost, and the confidence that would give Tyrone as well, just to say, we can beat you. They came here and beat them in the league. I know that was a massive thing for that Tyrone squad, but to do that in championship football now would be a huge step for them, and it would really sow those seeds of doubt into Dublin minds as well, because they haven't lost any championship game in 5 years now. So there's been so much football played since then. So many panels have changed drastically, and they're still here, having not lost. You have to commend that as well. That's some achievement.
And do you think it'll be straightforward enough for Kerry against Meath?
I would think so. Yeah, I would think they'll be very professional. And I feel quite sorry for Meath as well, Shane, because they've lost 2 games by 9 points. Nowhere near deserving of losing either game by those deficits. They did regain a lot of pride after what happened in the Leinster final against Dublin. They've really impressed me. That first 20 minutes of the second half against Donegal and Bob Buffet really had them rattled, and were really coming back into the game until Donegal just pushed away again, and Oisín Gallen got that second goal. So it's the Super 8s have been very harsh on them, but a steep learning curve, I would imagine, as well. So straightforward one for Kerry, yeah, but you know, maybe not by 10 or 11 points.
And do you think Kerry have added enough to their game this year? Like there is still that issue that you can run straight up the centre of that team as well. So do you think they've added enough to give, let's say, that if results go the way we expect, they'll be on a collision course to meet Dublin in All-Ireland final, assuming they get there. Do you think that we've seen enough progression for them to think that they could push Dublin?
Oh yeah, they'll definitely think that, and they have shown enough for that progression as well. Like to think that they went out at the Super 8s last year the way they did, like, and given how poor Galway were this year, like Galway beat Kerry here at Croke Park last year. That was only a year ago. You know, it's mad to think that.
They needed a late goal from David Clifford to even draw with Monaghan.
That's right, yeah. Just that little moment of magic and that wee flick from Kieran Donaghy. So Clifford's just on a different planet now. I just love watching him. I think he's just growing leaps and bounds with every game. Like, and
it says a lot to Stephen McManaman, captain.
It does, yeah. Stephen's a great man marker now. In fairness, he's been a great find for Donegal too. Captain to 3 points. Like if you'd have said that to Declan Rochford before the game,
one was a free as well. Now, to be fair.
Yeah, that's right. 2 from play, yeah.
And then Cork against Roscommon is as dead a dead rubber as you will find. But like for Roscommon, the manner of that defeat against Dublin, it kind of does put a stain on the year, even though they won the Connacht title.
Yeah.
But for Cork, right, they've lost to Tyrone, they've lost by 13 to Dublin. But there are real signs of progression, even when you add in the fact that they pushed Kerry so hard in the Munster final.
Yeah, huge. I've been very impressed with them, Shane, and you know, you would really hope that they'll build on that. You'd hope that they get straight out back out of Division 3. I think the reason they got relegated was they just went too defensive too early. They were just probably reacting to what happened against Kerry last year in the Munster final and what happened in the championship after that. So it was probably just maybe hitting the panic button a wee bit too early, and that cost them in the league, because they actually won up in Armagh the final day and other results went against them to put them down. So they should win Division 3 to canter, and it's a pity that they won't be in Division 2 next year, just so they'd have that extra level of football in them coming into the championship again. But huge signs of progression there. They've definitely restored a lot of pride, and hopefully they can build on that now, because you know, I know it sounds patronising and everything else, and it shouldn't be, like, but nobody wants to see Cork in Division 3. They shouldn't be there. Like, they've always been a top drawer team, and that 2010 team that won the All-Ireland probably should have won more. I thought they were a great side.
And then finally, are you looking forward to the game in Castlebar this weekend? Will you be going?
I'm actually going on a stag, Shane. Would you believe there's 34 of us going to Newcastle? So
I was there for a stag not so long ago.
Oh, yeah, Some spot seems to be the reaction everyone gives.
Yeah, I think that's the sort of thing where you don't necessarily want to say what you got up to, but you had a fair bit of crack.
Yeah, and thank God it's Saturday evening at 6 o'clock, because it's not a bank holiday over there, and we're all a lot of us are flying home Sunday lunchtime, so it'll be a nightmare.
Well, enjoy. The rest of us will watch the football.
Will do. Cheers, Shane.